hiring a lawyer for whatever legal need you may have, this video provides an overview of what you can expect to experience as a client of a lawyer. If you've never worked with a lawyer before, or if you're particularly nervous about a certain legal matter that you're about to undertake, well, then keep on watching, because in this video, we're going to be discussing some of the most common experiences that clients of a lawyer or a law firm have. Canon events is now a trending topic on YouTube outside of the general client-lawyer relationship. And as a lawyer with my own law firm, I thought this would be a fun video to put together, however, one that can still inform and educate you on what you might experience as a client. And also, in watching this video prior to officially retaining a lawyer and becoming a client, you can hopefully feel better about your experience as you work through your dealings with a lawyer as well. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Pamela Metani. I'm a business lawyer and the founder here at Graphene Business Law, a law firm serving exclusively business owners and entrepreneurs, and doing so virtually throughout the province of Ontario, Canada. If you're new to our YouTube channel, please give this video a big thumbs up. You know they take time outside of our very busy schedule as lawyers. However, we're so passionate about putting out that educational content out there that it's always worth it to us. But your thumbs up goes a long way in letting us know we're on the right track. And of course, subscribe. Now, for those that are unfamiliar with the trend, if you Google Canon event, you'll discover that a Canon event is something that has to happen in a certain storyline. So, for example, in getting to the love of your life, a Canon event might be just the worst dates on earth in getting to finally finding that person for you. A Canon event in becoming a lawyer is certainly going through law schools and all that comes with that, taking the bar exam, things like that. They're things that have to happen in any certain storyline. There are also Canon events in being a law firm client and being the client of a lawyer or a law firm, and that term can be used interchangeably because sometimes, depending on who you're contracting with, a lawyer might have you sign a retainer agreement with their firm as the party you're retaining, and other times a lawyer might have you sign a retainer agreement between yourself and that lawyer specifically. Without further ado, the first Canon event you can expect to experience yourself as a client, I think, would have to be the babbling first intake session with a lawyer, whether that's in the form of a consultation or literally called an intake session, a get to know you, an opinion session, whatever that first episode of the show is called between yourself and the lawyer you're retaining. It generally, in my experience, not only as a lawyer and law firm owner, but also having been a student, interning in so many different other law offices, it generally can be an event where you as a client are going to feel nervous, you're going to be babbling, and I literally mean that, not in an offensive way, it's just what's going to come out of your mouth is going to blah, 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 blah. That's just how it happens because you have so much to share, whether you're seeing your lawyer, for example, in the business setting that a client would see me for, we're talking about your dreams and how to implement those, or unfortunately, if you're seeing a lawyer because you've gone through something really difficult or you feel a wrongdoing's been committed against you, you as a client, more often than not, are going to feel emotional in that intake session. You have so much to get out of you, you've gone through so much, or you want to achieve so much, and it's going to come out oftentimes incoherent, babbling, and just spewing. Now, my job as a lawyer is to get you back on track and ask you questions that bring us back to the logic of the case, because although emotions play a factor, of course, at the end of the day, if and when we go to court, we go in front of a judge or a jury, and still those are human being figures, could be AI at some point, but still today they're human beings that also feel emotions. So there is a strategic way to inject emotion into your legal story. However, generally speaking, law is a more logical, linear pattern. As lawyers, we're citing other cases, we're citing legislation. We are trying to make a clear story out of your jumble of emotion and experience and dreams or sufferings. Okay, so if you walk out of that first session feeling like you just rambled the whole time, A professional lawyer is not going to have let you ramble, because you're going to want to make good use of your money that you're paying for the consultation. Or if it's a free one, they'll want to make good use of their time. So myself, for example, as a lawyer, I always step in and I ask clarifying questions and I say, well, let's come back to this, or I know this is really difficult, but this is more of a focus, legally speaking. But again, that'll certainly be something that most clients go through their first time meeting with a lawyer, talking about something that matters to them, for better or worse. And what I mean by that is, again, whether it's a dream topic you're discussing with a lawyer, or whether it's a serious, family issue, injury issue, wrongdoing committed against you, there's always going to be so much that you have to say, because for you, it could be the first time you've just gone through something like this. But for us as lawyers, this is what we're making a living out of, going through these stories every day. So they'll be babbling on your side and not on mine. The second, I think, Canon event or experience you're going to come across as being a client of a law firm and officially retaining a lawyer is going to be timeline anxieties. A lot of times, owing to what we discussed in the first event, of all those emotions you're importing to the meeting, the intake, the relationship you form with your lawyer, there's a feeling that this is just the most groundbreaking case you're bringing to a lawyer's desk. And sometimes, unfortunately, if the suffering's been severe enough or egregious enough, it could make for groundbreaking law. But oftentimes, a story is a story, and there are many stories because there are many individuals that a lawyer or a law firm is dealing with. So all that to say that when you import those emotions that often tend to increase expectations or inflate expectations, a client's expectation is that when they retain a lawyer, they're their only client, they're their world, because this matter is eating you as a client up. So how could the lawyer not see that? We see it. But just like your story is eating you up and you want it to eat us up, there's like 10, 50, 100 other clients somebody could have, a lawyer could have at any given moment in time. So there's other stories eating other people up, and of course there's a way to prioritize them and to have a hierarchy between stories, including timelines. Is somebody risking any limitations issues, for example, including severity? Is a matter, urgent, having to do with a minor, having to do with somebody whose life might be threatened? Or is a matter you've come to me because you want to draft a partnership agreement between yourself and your best friend that you've known for 30 years? If you've known them for 30 years, we could probably stretch it to 30 years in a week. But again, that's going to bump the way others are sitting in line. So for a lawyer, I would venture to say almost never, unless it's a mega case, will you be a lawyer's only client. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing, because that means your lawyer has experience and is dealing with other cases. Same way as I don't think you've ever gone to a family doctor for an annual checkup and you have been just the one patient they've sat in their office waiting all year for your annual checkup. No, those doctors probably see hundreds of people a week or a month. And while perhaps a little lesser of a scale as a lawyer, because our relationships with our clients can be more complex and more developed, and court times and all of that, the timeline anxieties you experience are totally normal, but there is still a bigger picture, as much as it might not be your favorite thing to hear, outside of your one case. Again, with all the nuances we've just given. Now, that mix of emotions we've talked about and the mix of timeline anxieties could lead you to experience that third Canon experience, which is doubts about the whole process. Because if you go to a lawyer's office and you have your initial intake, an hour later you filed all your pleadings, let's see if you're doing a statement of claim or a defense, and that afternoon you're in court, you don't have time to think so much about doubt because you're busy doing. But you have that intake, likely you see your lawyer again in a few weeks. At that point, you make an action item together, whether it's to draft something litigation focused or to draft a transactional item. After that, you'll be quoted another few weeks or month or two, depending on the task, depending on the lawyer, for that task to be completed. So as you go home, when you leave that lawyer's office, you're going to be left, that lawyer is busy doing, they're going to be doing and working on another client's file. But for you, you're suspended in this period of what's going to happen, and that's going to make you doubt the whole process. Should I be here? Should I sue? What about the cost? What about the timelines? What if word gets out? What's happening? It's okay for you to feel those things, not to quote, therapists here, but all feelings are normal. It's what we do with those feelings. If you have a severe enough anxiety that you're feeling about the whole process or this and that, talk to your lawyer about it and make that session to communicate with them. There's a chance that you'll be paying for that session, depending on, if it's a 5-minute phone call or if it's like an hour of just anxious blurb coming out. But you can talk to that lawyer about it. You can talk to friends and family about what you're feeling. You can even literally go to a therapist and talk about the impact that this process is having on you. I don't know of any client, even the most sophisticated ones, to whom litigating something, for example, means an absolute nothing. It will always mean something to the people involved. Even to us as lawyers, it means a lot. I take pride in getting good results for my clients. That's when we're working together, your story is part of my life journey as well. Some trial matters can take a year or two to work on. A year or two of my life is a year or two of my life as a lawyer. So the investment, does go both ways as time passes. However, again, I'm going to be dosified, if you will, or neutralized a little bit more than you as a client, because I as a lawyer have other clients with other stories. But for you, this could be your one and only story. It's unlikely that a regular client is going through multiple lawsuits at the same time. So this one lawsuit you are in will always mean a lot to you and cause so many doubts. But those doubts, again, through check-ins with your lawyer or other professionals or friends and family, or whatever the case may be. If you have nobody, you can write about it, you can talk out loud about it, you can watch videos like this to let you know that what you're feeling is totally normal. So those doubts can come with time. A fourth and closely affiliated, though, Canon event to doubting the whole process at some point is going to be doubting your lawyer. And as lawyers, we can see it. We can see it when a client is starting to act a certain way or speak a certain way. You think that maybe they're having their enough is enough moment. And in you being their closest partner in the process as lawyer to client, I'm literally here as your lawyer to advocate for you, that creates some comfort level in the client to even be a little pushy, disrespectful, whatever way you want to word it. At the end of the day, I as a lawyer know, owing to all the reasons we've mentioned in this video and more, how much this matters to you as a client. So it's not that it comes the wrong way. It's not that it's going to impact the excellent quality of service I provide you with as a lawyer. But I'm flagging it here because this video is for your benefit and to help reassure you as to these Canon moments in working with a lawyer. There could come a time where you even doubt your own lawyer in the process, but you have to ask yourself there, what logically can you point to? If there are logical wrongs, just everybody makes mistakes, no matter the profession, from doctors to lawyers to hairdressers to anybody else in between. Everybody makes mistakes. So if you are in a position where you're pointing objectively to something your lawyer has done wrong, there's avenues you can seek there as well, following a conversation with yourself and making sure there's something you can actually point to. And it might be the case that you might be one of the clients on whom a lawyer, owing to whatever's going on with them, whether personal or professional or what the case might be, a lawyer could have made an actual mistake. It happens. And, you speak up about it, you go to the right authorities about it and make the right, have the right conversations about it so that you're not sitting there as a victim for too long. But generally, when clients are doubting their lawyers, it's not so much that the lawyer has committed something egregious. It's that the client is getting fed up with the process. They're getting fed up with the timelines we talked about. You know, the cost maybe could be getting to them. The personal anxieties, you know, if you're suing your neighbor and your neighbor is looking at you the wrong way every day, you could drive back home after a long, excruciating day of work, that's going to start to impact your mental health. And who are you going to take it out on? The person closest to you in this legal fight that you're in, and that's going to be your lawyer, because nobody else is getting paid to fight for you. The fifth Canon event I want to talk about, and as you can tell, we could make probably a 24-hour live tutorial on this, but I'll cap it at 5 for now. And if you have more questions, you could leave the comment down below. But the fifth Canon event I'll talk about is that sometimes, or most of the time, clients will have a moment when they look at their bill and they feel that they're in over their head. It's getting too expensive. How can I afford this? You know, this is going to be the reason I can't do these other things financially speaking in my personal life, and so on and so forth. And that is a moment where it's not so much, you know, it is of course emotional in that you're tying those funds to other things in your mind, but and you can try to have a conversation with your lawyer about it. You can negotiate bills. I'll link a video down below about things that your lawyers don't want you to know. And the fact that you can negotiate your bill is one of them, because at the end of the day, every lawyer would rather get paid, or every reasonable human being would rather get paid with a 5 or 10% haircut on their fees than risk not getting paid at all, than taking you to court to get paid, and maybe you don't even have the money for them to get out of you, and so on and so forth. So you can get a little discount out of what you're, you know, maybe the bill you're seeing. But generally speaking, yeah, hiring a lawyer can be a costly process. But part of why that is, obviously, you are investing in something of tremendous value for yourself, whether you're in the dream building side of requiring a lawyer, or whether you're on the side of fighting for something that really matters to you. If something really matters to you, then paying a lawyer a few thousand or even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on what that thing is and will always be worth it. And if you have big dreams, again, paying a lawyer a few thousand or however many thousands at stake for you is always going to be worth it as well, because for every dollar you pay a lawyer, you're going to save yourself so many more. It's that equation of an ounce of the prevention is worth a pound of the cure, and hiring a lawyer almost every time is just really good business. And you know that if you hired that lawyer and you gave it your best, you'll never have the regret of, man, I shouldn't have tried this myself. I shouldn't have tried to skimp out on costs. I shouldn't have this and that. For some people, hiring a lawyer is what helps them reunite with their children. For some people, hiring a lawyer is what helps them get compensated for serious bodily injuries and traumas. For some people, hiring a lawyer and paying a few thousand at the beginning for a partnership agreement or what it might be is the reason that they're going to be able to start companies worth millions of dollars in the future. For some people, hiring a lawyer is going to be the reason that you can save your job. You pay a lawyer maybe a few thousand for a demand letter, and you get to save a job that pays you a lot more than that every year. So hiring a lawyer is a long-term vision kind of process, and the cost can be overwhelming. I get it. Money doesn't grow on trees, but business people so quickly go to lawyers because they understand that in terms of a business equation, the return will always be greater. And all that to say that you do need to make sure, of course, to understand what kind of lawyer your money is going to. And there is something to be said about hiring the best lawyer that's the best fit for yourself, with experience closely overlapping the scenario you're going through. I hope this information has been helpful. I hope that, you know, if you're, again, contracting with a lawyer for the first time in your life, or whether you've done it before and now it's just something a little more serious than you've usually worked with a lawyer on, I hope that this video has been educational. Again, a video on Canon events that a law firm client can face and can expect when working with a lawyer. I tried to Google, and when you Google Canon events, a lot of results come up. But when you Google Canon events in a client working with a lawyer, or Canon events in being a lawyer's client or a law firm's client, I didn't see anything. And I think it's about time that there's something out there, especially owing to how private and behind the doors that setting of working with a lawyer is rightfully so on the confidential prism, but also there's a lot to be said about how access to this educational information can help you feel better about the process as well. Because for whatever thought you're experiencing, not only in working with a lawyer, but throughout the legal process itself, I guarantee you that 1 out of 8 billion people on earth, somebody out of those 8 billion people on earth, at least one of them has experienced the same thing at a moment in time. So all of those feelings are okay. Just, as adults, we need to work them in the right way and make the most out of your experience in working with a lawyer. I'll link some other really helpful videos below, including on how to make sure you're picking the right lawyer for yourself, how to make sure a lawyer is a good fit. And again, in Graphene Business Law, we work exclusively with business owners and entrepreneurs. So some of this content could be better geared toward business owners. However, overall, these are Canon events and experiences for a reason, because I do think that any client of a law firm, despite the subject area, will experience these moments in varying capacities. Some might feel some of these moments more deeply than others, and some a little less. Again, if you are a business owner or entrepreneur in the province of Ontario, you can reach out to us at any time. GrapheneBusinessLaw.ca is our website, and info@GrapheneBusinessLaw.ca is our primary email. Thanks again for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and please click subscribe. Thank you.